Hello, welcome to our Grade 8 Mathematics video tutorial series. This project aims to provide you with alternative learning venues that will complement our classroom discussions. Every time you watch these assigned videos, remember to always have with you your math notebook and a pen for note-taking. Feel free to pause, rewind, or fast forward the video to maximize your understanding. In this video, we will learn about literal equations. A literal equation is an equation that relates one variable with other variables. The term literal equations may sound complicated or new, but it actually isn't. For instance, let's begin with the equation P equals 4S. Does this equation look familiar? That's right. This is the formula that we use to find the perimeter of squares. Note that in this equation, P stands for perimeter and S stands for the length of the side of the square. In this case, we see that P is being related to S such that P is the result by multiplying the side length S by 4. Thus, P equals 4S is an example of a literal equation. In this equation, we're able to find the perimeter of a square by substituting the length of the side for S. For instance, we have a square with a side that is 3 inches long. In this case, S is equal to 3 inches. To find the perimeter of the square, we need to plug in 3 for S. That is, using the same equation, P equals 4S, we plug in 3 for S. We will then have P equals 4 times 3, thereby giving us P equals 12 inches. Note that this equation is very useful when solving for the perimeter given the length of the side of the square. However, what if we were given the perimeter of the square and we were asked to solve for the length of the side? Does this mean we need to memorize another formula for finding the length? This is where our mastery of manipulating literal equations comes in handy. Note that our formula P equals 4S is expressed in terms of P. That is, P is isolated on one side. If we are looking for the length of the side of the square, however, how do you think should the formula for that task look like? That's right. We need a formula that is expressed in terms of S. In other words, an equation where S is isolated. This is easily doable by applying the properties of equality that we know. Let's begin with the equation once again, P equals 4S. Remember, this time, we need an equation in terms of S. So, we need to isolate S. To do this, we need to eliminate 4 from the right side of the equation, and in this case, I need to use MPE. I will multiply both sides of the equation by 1/4. 1/4 multiplied by 4S gives us S. 1/4 multiplied by P gives us P over 4. You may also apply the symmetric property and switch the sides of the equation, giving us S equals P over 4. We now see that S is isolated on one side. In other words, we have just solved the equation P equals 4S in terms of S, and doing so resulted to S equals P over 4. Let's try another one. Solve for A in 3A minus 5 equals C. I begin by rewriting my equation. 3A minus 5 equals C. If I want to isolate A, I can first apply APE and add 5 to both sides of the equation. And that results to 3A equals C plus 5. But now I wish to eliminate 3 here. To do that, I need to apply MPE and multiply both sides by 1/3. I will rewrite this equation first. 3a equals c plus 5. When I multiply both sides by 1/3, I need to remember that I have to enclose this expression in a grouping symbol so I do not forget to apply DPMA later. Then multiply by 1/3, 1/3 right here. Multiplying both sides by 1/3 results to a on the left side and c plus 5 over 3 on the right. Next one. Solve for w in p equals 2l plus 2w. Does this equation look familiar? Yeah, that's correct. That's the equation for finding the perimeter of a rectangle. So here we need to solve for w. So I will rewrite my equation first. P equals 2l plus 2w. This time I'm trying to isolate w. So first I apply 8pe and add negative 2l to both sides of the equation. So I do just that. Negative 2l on the right, negative 2l on the left. Simplifying, I will have p minus 2l on the left side and 2w on the right side. But then I also want to eliminate 2 here, and to do that, I use MPE and multiply both sides by 1/2. Remember your grouping symbol so you don't forget to use DPMA. Multiply that by 1/2, and I multiply this side by 1/2. Doing so results to p minus 2l over 2 equals w. You can still apply your symmetric property and flip the sides of the equation, and you will have w equals p minus 2l over 2. Now try this on your own. Solve for h in a equals 1/2 bh. Pause the video now and start doing your solution. Now, for your homework, on a size 1, answer written exercises A, items 11, 12, 15, 18, and 20 on page 300 of your elementary algebra textbook.